I knew there was no snow in places, but I wasn't prepared for that. And we don't train that way. I have never, ever been on my dog sled behind my team when there's no snow. I was 6.8 miles out of Roan, and I tipped over on my sled, and I hit a tree with the side of my head over here. I took off out of there, and I was tipping over a lot, and I was probably because I was still a little dizzy. But I mean, I was tipping over a lot. And then I got out, and I made it out of all that crappy stuff, and I'm going across Tin Creek, and one of my dogs got tangled up. His hooper went the wrong way around a tree. So I'm on the other side by my leaders, sled's on the other side of the water, and I turned around and slipped on the ice. And I think it was because my big extreme boots, they were iced up and from going through the water, and I slipped. I did one of those where, you know, and instead of falling on my back, I recovered. But I landed wham on my foot. And I thought I broke my ankle, but it's just a small bone in the foot under the ankle. And the pain was unbelievable. So then I tried to drag myself over to my sled. I didn't have my gloves on. I'd left them on my sled. And I had my full parka and my bibs on, but everything was wet then. Because then when I fell down, the ice sagged down, and all that open water seeped over to the low spot that I was in. And I couldn't get over to my sled, and I was cold. And I laid down on the ice. And I thought, you know, I knew this wasn't the end, but I also know that hypothermia can be a beast. And I laid there, and I just thought, you know, well, it could be worse. Bone could be sticking through the skin, you know. It could have been worse. And I could be all alone. I had my dogs with me. And so I had them for warmth. I had Mowgli here, and then I had I had Murray and Queen laying by my feet. And I laid there for, it was about 45 minutes. I looked at my GPS afterwards to see how much my stop time was there. And all of a sudden I see a dog team pull up. And these trees that my dogs had gotten stuck on obscured from me the musher. And I just saw a dog team coming up, and so I laid there and I said, "Help!" And then I didn't get a response. I'm like, "Help!" And all of a sudden, Newton comes around the corner. He says, "Yeah, man, what are you doing there laying on the ice?" I'm like, "Newton, buddy, I'm so glad you're here." And, you know, if I was all by myself, I could hunker down, crawled around, started a fire, but that wasn't possible. And because I had 15 dogs I had to take care of. And so when he got me standing up, and then I tried to put pressure on it, and the pain was just a lightning bolt. And so I hit the ice again, and I laid there with it in my hand, and I flipped open that cover, I bet 20 times. And then I just pushed the button, and then once you push the button, you know, you're not a competitor in the 2014 race. And, you know, that was tough. That was tough.
Why is it tough?
Oh, I love doing this. And those dogs, they work so hard, and they love it, you know, and because I hurt myself, they couldn't continue, and that's the killer right there, you know. It's just, jeez. And I told them when we were leaving, I'm like, "Sorry, guys," you know. And, you know, I will do everything I can to not let that happen again. I'll never run on ice on Iditarod again. And you know, I had boot cleats with, and I even thought of putting them on, and I will in the future. So I guess it's just a few more tools I've got. The more adversity you have to overcome, you know, you can either do the backstroke and the CSL pity, or you can say, "Well, I'm going to learn by that," and go forward and do it again. So I'm ready for next year's race. We didn't have full disclosure of what that trail was like. I mean, and they did tell us, and that, oh, there's stumps showing and there's bare ground and blah, 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 but we should have known what that was, because it was straight out dangerous. It was so dangerous that when I got into Roan, I said, you guys need to call back to Rainy Pass, and you need to tell these people exactly what is in front of them so they can make a decision on if they want to leave in the dark or they want to leave on the light. And I said, that was such a dangerous trail. I just hope to God that nobody needs my services tonight. And one of the other people says, why, are you a doctor? I said, no, I'm the Mushing Mortician.